Hi and good morning, and welcome to the BricsCAD webinar. BricsCAD Lite, the modern LT CAD alternative for designers, architects, and engineers. Now, this morning, we're going to talk about the reason why more and more professionals are starting to embrace BricsCAD, which brings you more CAD power for less cost. So let's get started. Your hosts today are the talented Kin, our local BIM specialist from Bristol, and myself, Jas Pawar, based in Birmingham. Now, we see a lot of companies making the move to BricsCAD. Why? Because currently, the balance is not right. We live in unpredictable and testing times. We really do. And you must be adaptable and ready for change to be successful. The trend we keep on hearing from customers is that they are fed up with their current CAD provider, the other CAD. I feel for those companies who are so stuck with the other CAD, as it's been an uphill battle for them, forced from a license they once owned to subscription, then hit with a year-on-year price increase. When that was not enough, those lovely licenses in your network were forced out of the pool to a named user license. All this with little or no new developments in their software. Now, as a side note, we at BricsCAD have nothing against subscription. And that's why we give you the choice with BricsCAD Lite, the modern LT CAD alternative, allowing you to achieve more while paying less. And that's getting the balance right. How do you get this balance right when choosing between capabilities and cost, or when choosing a CAD solution for your company? Design technology is available in many different forms, from simple, even free, 2D tools to highly complex and capable specialist tools to design, for example, complete vehicles. Now, as the complexity increases, so does the cost of purchase, implementation, and ownership. To choose the right fit, organizations need to get the balance right, tools to do the job effectively, but at the right cost. Not enough capability won't get the job done, but too costly will decrease profitability. Now, this is especially critical when selecting the right solution for 2D design. You need a tool set which gives you the best, most productive functionality for 2D drafting, but it's cost effective and flexibly packaged. You don't want to pay over the odds if you're only using it for 2D function. It's the balance of the right capability versus the right cost. Now, when I was an engineer, this need for the right balance became quite a challenge. If you're using, for example, AutoCAD for design, especially if all or part of your process involves 2D. Now, there are two options for 2D design, AutoCAD LT or the full-blown AutoCAD, or a combination of two is what I used. Now, LT offers a low-cost solution, but in terms of overall capability, it's found lacking in some areas compared to other products or the full AutoCAD. The full AutoCAD, however, scores better when it comes to 2D capability, but it's around 4 times the cost, and that's a lot to pay if you're using it only for 2D drafting. But a lot of 2D design teams are often forced into AutoCAD. For example, if you want to build, I don't know, maybe run an AutoLISP routines, well, you can't do that in LT. Yeah. You may find that LT falls short they really need to make them more productive, which are only found in the full AutoCAD. Then there's the issue of subscriptions for organizations with part-time users of 2D users being forced to have a named user LT seat for each, rather than a pool of shareable licenses, is definitely not cost-effective. Now, for organizations experiencing such issues, we believe BricsCAD offers the perfect balance. It really does, between capability and cost. BricsCAD offers the same level of 2D capability as the full AutoCAD, but then much more on top, enabling faster workflows, greater flexibility, intelligent automation, and also full support for AutoLISP. But at the same time, it costs significantly less than AutoCAD, with full license flexibility, enabling sharing over a network, for example. Now this, what we say, is the perfect balance of quality versus cost. And importantly, our customers have directly replaced seats of AutoCAD, and it instantly fits into your design workflows. This is because it is based on BricsCAD's fully compatible DWG platform. So there is a seamless DWG data consistency. And also it's been developed to be aligned to the AutoCAD user interface. So it provides a familiar and comfortable user experience. So what is BricsCAD? We believe it's the natural stage of evolution of DWG, and it's the for anyone who creates and edits 2D or 3D drawings. It's part of the full BricsCAD DWG based design platform. It's developed to be very cost effective. It's fully customizable with its own Lisp development capability. It features some amazing functionality that provides step-on productivity. And it's a fast evolving with machine learning and AI powered features that's continually been added into the solutions. It's developed by Bricsys. We've been creating innovative 2D and 3D design tools for the last 2 decades. Bricsys is now part of the global technology giant Hexagon AB, whose investment is powering the product forward to provide designers with ever more powerful tools to optimize their workflows. Now take a look at our global footprint, with our HQ in the lovely city of Ghent in Belgium. The Bricsys team is forever growing. With new regional headquarters, we have global presence, but with reach. BricsCAD services various types of industries from 1 or 2 seats per customer to 700 plus seats per customer. And that footprint is expanding. And here's just a sample of our customer base. Now, this being our second of a webinar series this year, so there'll be a link in the chat window at the end of the webinar. For those who have missed out, you can really catch up with some great stuff there. But the great thing is we only have one install product, which is a family of products in the realist sense. Image 2D, 3D, BIM, and mechanical design in a single light, powerful product. This is what is available in the BricsCAD Ultimate Edition, which, by the way, is what you have access to when you download the free 30-day trial of all the products in a single package. The whole product family is available for you to evaluate in a single download file. I'm talking about, folks, under 500 megabytes in size, and we'll share this link in the chat window later on. And when you buy your license code, that enables you access to a specific edition of BricsCAD. For example, BricsCAD Lite, which we'll go in a short moment. BricsCAD Pro, which is CAD software for 2D drafting, 3D modeling, and third-party apps. Really is the easiest path to 3D. BricsCAD Advanced Mechanical Design Tools is what you get with BricsCAD Mechanical. And BricsCAD BIM, an end-to-end BIM workflow for design, construction, documentation. And again, all these additions packaged together in the BricsCAD Ultimate. No separate software installs, all available in the same software platform. Okay, so if you're doing 2D in Lite or Pro and you want to do some mechanical 3D, you just swatch, you literally switch the environments. The data's there. It's really fantastic. But let's take a closer look at BricsCAD Lite. So BricsCAD Lite, which is the theme, if you like, for this great webinar, is best for 2D drafting with a ribbon-based user interface will look very familiar to users of the other CAD program, but you'll never limit the user choice. Its existing menu layout will load directly into BricsCAD. Start with the commands and tools you already know to create a 2D document faster. And remember, folks, that every edition of BricsCAD supports Lisp, slashing the time it takes to do repetitive drafting tasks. Existing macros and Lisp programs just load in seconds and go in BricsCAD. We are really taking the DWG to the next level. as I mentioned before, with machine learning and AI tools that will speed the creation of detailed construction and manufacturing drawings. BricsCAD Lite is well familiar for those who know AutoCAD. The interface is comfortable and recognizable, and command names, aliases, and system variables are all the same. So you can get started straight away. Your previous customization works very well. You run existing Lisp customization, load existing templates, blocks and sheet sets layouts, all with little or no modification. And BricsCAD is fully compatible with existing DWG data. It's native DWG data. In fact, in many cases, BricsCAD can open legacy DWG files that can't be opened by any other software tool. That is a fact. So, incredibly powerful, intelligent tools can help you automate parts of process, saving you potentially huge amounts of time and effort. We at Bricsys and Hexagon believe in working smarter and not harder. And with these AI and machine learning tools such as Blockify, which you can create a block from a set of, and BricsCAD will go in and look for other similar geometry and automatically, and that's right, automatically replace it with that block, tidying up your drawing and dramatically reducing file size and time. Faster workflows with tools like the Quad, an AI-powered command palette that predicts what you want to do next and provides the right tools to do that at the right time, right at your fingertips. And Copy Guided allows you to copy entities using surrounding geometry as a guide for where they will be placed, automatically adjusting the geometry in a copied location to suit. A great example for this is, imagine copying a door, which has the door, the swing of the door, and all the other bits and pieces that goes with the door. And when you're then putting that into another location where the opening is automatically created, so you don't need to manually trim and extend, it does it for you automatically. Again, saving a lot of manual trimming. Okay, now for the real stuff. Let's take a closer look at BricsCAD Lite. Over to you, Kin. The floor is all yours for the Lite demonstration.
Well, thank you so much, Jas, for that wonderful introduction. Let me just quickly share my screen. Okay, I hope you guys are seeing my screen. And yes, welcome to the BricsCAD Lite demo. So let us just quickly begin. So I'm just going to quickly fire up over here. And the first thing you will see instantly almost, it's the BricsCAD Lite launcher. And you can see I'm running on BricsCAD Lite. Therefore, you can see an upgrade for 3D modeling, mechanical design, BIM, and of course, we still have the free BricsCAD shape. So that's quite useful if you're still thinking of doing some quick and easy bits of 3D sketching, etc. And you can select your units, whether it's metric or imperial, but of course, we're going into 2D drafting. So click on 2D drafting, and the first bit you will see is this welcome page where you find yourself so familiar with it because this brings you a sense of familiarity with AutoCAD, and you can see the learn and the third-party applications right at the tabs there. So let's just quickly go into a new drawing, and I'll quickly show you the similarities and some differences between us and the other CAD. So we've got a side panel, and these side panels give us easy access to layers, XREFs, tips if you want to. But if you don't like them, you can easily turn them off over here. Now, some of you may ask, oh, I'm not really a fan of the ribbons. I'm more of a fan of the AutoCAD Classic. So here we have it. We call it a drafting bracket toolbar. So this little workspace brings us these kind of small icons. And then again, we've got the side panels, which you can easily close them again. But you have all these small icons, and this is a wonderful space if you're just a fan of the command line, using the command line and clicking the small icons. But I'm not a fan of the command line. I like to hide them, and you can hide them as well if you want to. All right, let's bring that up again. And I'd like to quickly show you as well that you can bring out the large icons for the drafting toolbars. So with large icons, I would assume this would be easy if you have a tablet or if you have a laptop with a touch screen and you can hit the styluses really quickly. And again, my panels are showing up because it's my first time opening this workspace. And once I close them, it will save them. And whenever you go back to their workspace, it will remember all the things. And now I've just quickly done a clean screen. And again, if you're a fan of full screen immersion experience in drafting, here you go. The command is called clean screen. Let me just quickly turn that off. And what I'm going to show you last about this would be the light interface. So if you like the light background, here you go. But I'm not really a fan of it as well. So I'm just going to revert back to the default settings. So back to my drafting toolbar and back to my dark interface. And also, if you're thinking about moving from AutoCAD or AutoCAD to BricsCAD, some of you may ask, oh, am I going to lose all my little shortcuts and stuff because the ribbons might be different? I like to customize ribbons, etc. You can always go onto your customized settings and you can find these kind of workspaces, ribbons, all customizable to however you want. Command aliases, just like Jas mentioned earlier, they're all at your fingertips. Even the settings are similar. So the learning curve isn't that great. And if you have a program parameter file, you can always just simply open it, import it, .pgp file, there you go. And the environment that you're familiar in is all yours back again. So let us just quickly go into this project. So this is a project I'm working on right now. It's a interior design project, we can call it, in a typical neoclassical building. And as you can see, it's at concept design stage. So I have got general arrangement plans, sections, simple stuff. I'm moving towards a developed design. And you can see that in this neoclassical building, the gray hatch drawings, they are all existing structure. And the other colorful things, those are my new stuff, my proposed stuff. Let's just call it that way. But the thing is, it's all messed up. It's all mixed up in just one drawing because it's been passed through different consultants, different colleagues, etc. And I've got this little XREF over here, which was once an existing drawing. And I've got this properties panel, which I'm going to show you that everything here are all made of polylines and this being XREF. So let's open this XREF and I can quickly open it straight out of this panel here on the side. So it's really useful for me to have it accessible right at my fingertips. And you can notice that existing plans is now open at the top there. And I'll just quickly go back here. So I'm just going to hide my proposed stuff. So I am singling out the existing drawings, the existing information, and I'm going to bring them into the XREF that I just opened earlier. And to quickly do that, some of you may be familiar with Lisp routine, and that's what I'm going to show you. I'm just going to quickly prove to you that these are the existing drawing information that I like to copy into the other DWG. So I'm just going to quickly run this Lisp routine, and you can see right in my command line, it's from Lee Mack. Some of you who are familiar with, obviously, these kind of magic will be familiar with his work. His work, it's for the AutoLISP, but we can also run this this .LSP file, if you say that way, over here in BricsCAD, and it's prompting me to say, to type C2X to basically execute this command. So I've loaded it in, and I'm just gonna hit C2X. I'm going to select all the things that I'd like to bring onto the XREF. Select XREF, I'm just going to click on that one. And now instantly it's all on this DWG now, which wasn't earlier, if you could remember. So here you go. Now I can turn on and turn off the line weights if you ever wish to see those line weights in action. But for now, it's working just fine. And what I can do next is to save them so I can see the latest drawing up here. Turn them back on. And it's just as good as new, just that the existing information now belongs to the XREF. I'm not worried that my other colleagues may accidentally draw on the existing stuff. I've just opened the Drawing Explorer over here now. And what the Drawing Explorer does is it collates all the information that you need in the drawing. And over here, it's the layers panel. So it's listing all the layers that you have in this particular drawing. And the preview panel at the bottom shows what information belongs to that layer. So you can cycle through them just to make sure you're selecting the right layer, or you can select multiple ones, as you can see. So immediately you have the idea of what you're selecting before you actually change them. So you get layer states, you get line types, you get to collate multi-leader styles, and of course dimension styles as well, which is quite useful for dimensioning and annotation and stuff. And over here you can see my current one is under BricsCAD, but what if I would like to compare to ISO 25, which is, if you could see, completely different. And to know the differences, and on the right hand side, the highlighted stuff basically tells me what's different between the two of them. And that's so useful. Of course, it also collates the blocks, and the blocks show the number of references, the number of instances you have in your drawing. And all in all, this Drawing Explorer just helps with your CAD management skills. So drafting doesn't just exist with drafting alone. It has to come with CAD management tools, and that's what we have. An example, an XREF over here. And if I click on the other drawing, I can count immediately what the things are. So back onto the existing plans bit, I'm just going to quickly select some of the lines over here, just to show that not all the lines are perfect. As you can see, some of the lines are ajar, a thick gray line over here, for example, with an angle at 19.1.2. These are classic, messy CAD drawings that you often get when you receive from another consultant, etc. I'm just going to quickly see if I could find some other messy drawings, basically lines that are not aligned to 90 degrees or 0 degrees, not orthogonal, if I could say that way. But it's just difficult because I'm literally searching for a needle in a haystack in this case. But what we have in BricsCAD is a structure browser. And what the structure browser does is it sorts and organizes all the lines and items, information accordingly. And in this case, it's it's sorting out with layers based on the lines. And I can quickly see in this instance that the lines are all allocated with different unique IDs. And if you know the unique ID, obviously you can click straight into it and you can select the line out of probably a million lines over here in this drawing. But if you like to adjust or configure the structure tree to your desire, such that it can filter out or sort out the desired parameter, you can always do it here. And over here, you can see it's now being sorted by layer. And what I want to find now is the angle of the line. So I'm just going straight into entities, lines, and then angle. Bring it up so it's given priority. Hit OK. Zoom extends for a little bit. And right here, you can see that everything's all sorted, all organized based on their angles, their inherent angles. And let's take, for example, over here, we've got 89.85, we've got 90, and I just want to make sure as many lines belong to the 90-degree category, as many as possible, because I wouldn't want 89.75 or 88.25 too much, even though they should be 90 degrees. but it would be such a hassle to rotate them manually. So I have this optimized 2D lines. And what it does here is I can adjust its tolerance, tell this machine learning thing, this tool in BricsCAD to select these lines that fall within this tolerance at vertical, which is 90 degrees, angle tolerance of 2 degrees, because I'm thinking of grouping anything between 88 degrees and 92 degrees and putting them all into the 90-degree category. I'm going to leave them with a distance tolerance of 0.05, maybe, mil. I mean, it's minute, it's really tiny, you can't really see it. But then again, I wouldn't want to accidentally group things that are wrong. I'll just quickly click apply, and you can let the run bar below do its job for maybe 2 seconds or so, and it should report its results right now. So 101 lines optimized, and notice right at the side here, everything's all grouped except for this 89.88, which somehow fell out of my tolerance. But again, if I look at it closely, you can see that over here, oh, I've selected 2 lines. I should be selecting that 89.88 line. You can see that it's just wrongly snapped. So I'm just going to snap it right back. And yeah, look for it again. And it should give me 90 degrees. So all the 101 line all optimized into the 90-degree category. So that's how you actually do CAD management, cleaning up drawings, mass cleaning. But what if I've selected lines as well? So let's zoom in over here. I just realized there are some gaps over here on this stairs. I'm just going to click on this properties here. So we have 26 lines over here, broken lines, which depict stairs, the lines of threads, really. And the first instinct that tells me is I'll have to join them using the join tool, Join, but it doesn't work on multiple entities, as you can see. But what you can do in Optimize is you can select the drawings, as you saw over here, tell it to close the gaps, and again, I'll leave a gap tolerance at 180 degrees because I know it's quite safe that the distance between the thread lines is more than 180 degrees, and it should close any gap below that value. And of course, I'm going to click apply, and there you go. Everything's all hued. 12 gaps closed, all literally in an instant. So you might also have noticed there were some panels appearing halfway through the presentation earlier, and these are what we call the rollover tips in this case. And this is really helpful. So in this instance, I can quickly change the colors. I can change the layers if I want to. It tells me important information. And over here, it brings out the quad, which are some fancy icons that help with the workflow and helps with the productivity. So that was the polyline quad that you just saw. But what if I click on the MText and you realize that this tool is a context and a tool-specific function that shows and also prompts the user, which prompts me what my next action could be. So I could be thinking of exploding text or editing text or even checking spelling, which obviously wouldn't happen in a polyline basis. And I can quickly say, fillet this rectangle, and instantly you can see it's been now, the edges are all rounded off. And I can do it on this little rectangle as well, without having to type F space and then determine your radius, etc. in the command line, or even hit the ribbon. I've not used the ribbon for ages, as you can see. And what I can say is, if I haven't convinced you to use the quad or the rollover tips, you can always turn them off. And let me just show you. It's not appearing anymore if you find it annoying. Turn it on, rollover tips. There you have it. Of course, the quad. Now, what we can do is we can start to, well, maybe let's bring back the home button first. Sorry, the home ribbon first. I've not used it for quite some time. And I will just quickly turn off any unnecessary layers before I move on to the next exercise, which is the actual drafting bit. Turn off multiple ones. I don't really need this one as well. So here you have it. The layer panel is just so convenient. And I'm just going to quickly zoom in. And you can, and zooming in, if you have a 3D mouse, say from Connection 3D mouse, which I do have, you can also use it to zoom and pan. So we have a fashion show, a fashion runway on the east wing of this neoclassical building. We have got some changing rooms to the right, as you could see, and right in the middle, a fashion runway flanked by chairs. What I think I'm going to do is I'm just going to add more chairs to my left over here, where my cursor is. And I'm just going to bring out the manipulator tool. So what it does is it allows me to copy the items I've selected. And you can notice there's this little ruler over here. And when I zoom in, the increments of the ruler changes. Now it's at intervals at 100, but earlier it was at 10s, if you could see. I can rotate it, hit shift, and you can do an instant 90-degree. Okay, now I'm going to move it as well. Again, manipulator. And I can snap right at the middle of the fashion runway. So I've got everything clean and aligned. And that's really useful for me as a designer. Again, manipulator. I'm just going to copy now. So I'm going to hit C. And again, align it to the center, maybe closer to the center, because what I'm going to do now, I'm going to hit 3000, just to give a good distance away and do a rotation. So if you have a specific number in mind, you can always hit it. So 45 degrees. And what the manipulator tool also has is it's got a mirror tool. So it's such a wonderful, useful tool. And we're just gonna do the mirror line location right here. And there you have it. I've got instantly chairs copied right to the left-hand side. And I just realized all the chairs are made of broken polylines. And this is such a typical pain. I'm sure those of you in this 2D drafting realm will realize my chairs are all made of thousands of broken polylines. So what I can do is I can blockify. I'll bring out my machine learning tool of BricsCAD, and what it instantly reads is it's going to read this graphic. It's going to prompt me to search for the entire drawing, specify the block name. I'm just going to put it chair maybe. And instantly you can see in the command line, in 2.07 seconds, it's detected 153 block inserts. So I'm just going to highlight them all just to prove my case that all these chairs now are made of blocks and not broken polylines, as you just saw. 33 chairs. Even the ones at 45 degrees are all blocked as well. I mean, how useful is this tool? I mean, it could have taken me an hour to have replicated everything. And even with overlaps on mLeader, it just works perfectly fine. So I like to make an edit on this block chair. And I like to add some parameters because I'm thinking of making this chair what we call a parameter block. If you're familiar in the AutoCAD world, you may know it as a dynamic block. And I'm going to make just the seat parametric. You can do it manually, but lazy me, I would always think about a automatic method. So what we have over here is called the auto constraint tool. I'm just going to highlight these lines, turn on auto constraint, and instantly you saw that the parameters just appeared. And I'm just going to bring out the panel right on my right hand side, and I can do a animate to see which parameters I'm about to select. So here you go. That's the seat depth. I'm just going to quickly label it. before I forget. And that's the width. Oops. There you go. I'm just going to hide the width because that's not what I want. But I have the seat depth. I'm happy. And I will save this block. And now loading all these chairs in instantly, we have a parametric chair now. I'm just going to make 0.5 meter for the seat depth. I can do it for 1. I can do it for multiple chairs if I want to. And yeah, I think it looks quite nice on the front row actually. So I'm just going to highlight everything in the front row and make sure these chairs have 500 mil of depth. And here we have it. It's quite nice. But yeah, I realized this chair might be useful in the future. So what can I do? So in BricsCAD, we have a thing called the library. And I'm going to just add this 2D chair as part of my personal library so I can reuse it in other projects in the future. Selected this entity, I'm going to retain it as a block. I'm going to pick the point as the base point. I'll just say 2D chair, maybe 2D chair front row. Save it in my desired folder. Create. And you can see instantly, again, everything's so quick that the chair is now loaded into my library. I can bring it out, click, drag and drop, specify the scale if you want to. Well, everything's 1, really. So except for rotation block, it's 0. Insert, and here you have it. That's a chair that you can have in your other projects if you wish to. So that's parametric blocks. But what if you have got AutoCAD dynamic blocks loaded as well? Well, in this case, you can see that we have a visual parameter as well. You can still read AutoCAD's dynamic blocks in this instance. I'll just turn it to another person, another cell block. And yeah, that means you don't have to redo everything in BricsCAD. You can reuse your old stuff, just like how you reuse your old settings, as I showed you. So let's go on to the right-hand side, where the changing rooms are currently doorless, except for these 2 kind of corner cubicles. And you can see these are walls made of lines and hatch patterns. And if I want to copy this little yellow door, if you're familiar in CAD, you know how painful it is to crop the lines, crop the hatches, etc. So what I have here is copy guided, as just mentioned earlier in the presentation. I can slide against, or slide along rather, this little wall here, and instantly it just crops out the hatches. It's made that door as well. I'll just do it again. You've got move guided, by the way, but I'm just going to have to copy because I need more doors in this case. So again, select the reference curves, click space, and it detects the thickness of the wall of the hatches, and you can do it even with, say, other walls or other lines that represent the similar walls. So over here, I can even specify the return at 300 mil. I can even slide against this wall if I want to. It doesn't matter. So some people may ask, like, oh, yes, you can mirror doors and stuff, but I'll have to specify every single time the return or the fixed distances. So one thing you can use it creatively, no one's stopping you really, is you can select the reference curves, select this particular line as well, such that it's now sticking, it's now locking against corners, and I have a fixed return right now. And this is a lot more useful and so much more productive than having to copy, crop the hatches, etc. So yes, copy guided doesn't mean you can't use it not creatively. You can always add different reference curves, such as this, for example. I can select either, but I'm just going to push it out, so I've got more space for the door. And yeah, it's not even interfering with my dimension lines. So here you go. Right, so now I've got the doors, I've got this, and I realize that we have got, say, text Bricks and the fashion show. And if you are familiar with Express tools in AutoCAD, for example, you realize that LT doesn't carry Express tools, not in the recent versions, I believe. But over in BricsCAD Lite, you still have some of the tools from Express tools at your fingertips. So what I can do is combine text, and some of you may know it's called text to M text. So what I can do now is I'm combining these two separate M text entities at a fixed distance at 7,200 mil, and basically hit it, and voila. Again, now it's one M text, different fonts, different font sizes, different font colors, etc., all in one. And what if I like to change something back on the chairs? For example, these guys here, but I can't remember what the seat depth was. I can go back to its entity history, undo one step. So I am still keeping my doors, I'm still keeping my new text without having to do my Control Z or undo. And this is so much helpful. This really basically saves you so much time and effort, and lets you make a few less mistakes, really. And my layout manager has got showing me two sheets right now. Paper space works the same as well. And I am just going to quickly zoom in, turn on and turn off the line weights if you wish to. But of course, I'll turn on the line weights because that's the beauty of 2D drafting. I like the line weights to be catchy, to be rich, to be thick where they should be, or to be thin. And I'm going to plot it real quick. And as you can see, if you have a PC3 plotter or the settings and stuff, you can always reuse them. You don't have to reset everything. Again, same for the plot style table .ctb. Settings look the same, the UI looks the same, so there isn't that much of a learning curve. And for example, if I click on this, you can see the settings, they look the same, really. And yeah, I've just got all these kind of default settings all set up. But the special thing over here in BricsCAD is you can use an external PDF viewer. And that is so important because if you use your internal your internal software to preview, which is not a bad thing, but sometimes if you want to plot, or if you have got different PDF printers between yourself and your client or your different external consultants, that may result in different graphics, different line weights, just basically different effects. And it's such a pain sometimes to always revisit and then replot it, and then having to do a new revision just because of that. And that is just so silly. And what we have here in BricsCAD is use the external PDF viewer, which I have got as a Adobe Reader, the free version. So if you have got this as default, you will open Adobe immediately. You have Bluebeam, etc. That will work exactly fine as well. So here we have it. Let me just quickly zoom in and see the richness of my line weight. And just as what I wanted, thick wall lines, the cut lines, you can see some of the mistakes. The gray hatch patterns are a little too thick. I might have to revisit that. But the dimensions are nice. 0.00 mil give me that really nice crisp color as well. The thickness of it, the cavity wall is there. The new addition, the cut lines on elevation, it's just nice. It's just fascinating with all these kind of thicknesses. Now I think I'm happy with this. So with that said, yeah, you can now print it. You can now save as. Or you can even close this. This is now just a temporary file. You can just go back and plot it to a plotter if you have got, but obviously I don't have one, and this is a PDF printer for myself. So this is my final result, which is what I'm happy of. So here you go. This is the BricsCAD Lite demo. I hope you enjoyed it, and thank you. Over to you, Jas.
Wow, even the fashion show runway had 2 meter distance, which I noticed, which is Pretty cool. Yeah, thanks, Kin. Wow, folks, that's more CAD power for less cost. And talking about cost, I want to share something else with you now as well. So going back to what we talked about earlier, getting the balance right is about cost and capability. So let's take a look at the cost for now. This is the cost over 3 years of BricsCAD Lite perpetual license. And this is the cost of BricsCAD Lite subscription in gray. Now, the red bars shows the cost of the full AutoCAD subscription over that period. Again, we're showing this example in sterling, but euros and dollars, we can have that conversation as well. But if you are using AutoCAD for 2D because of the lack of LISP support, or for access to the kind of capability the Lite just doesn't have, you could easily replace, just as our customers have, replace your AutoCAD subscription with BricsCAD Lite. For each subscription replaced, you could be saving well over £4,000 over 3 years. Now that's a reduction in cost of ownership of over 80%. And with the perpetual license approach, that saving percentage will increase every year thereafter. So that's the cost covered. What about capability, the other element in the balance equation? Now, BricsCAD's flexible licensing makes things more cost effective compared to AutoCAD's named user subscriptions. As an alternative illustration, what if you were to replace AutoCAD LT with BricsCAD Lite for your part-time users to take advantage of shareable licenses, your multi-user licenses, for example. So let's say there are 20 users who each need access to 25% of their time to make the calculation clearer. Now, this is the cost over 3 years of 5 BricsCAD Lite perpetual networked licenses. And this is the cost of 5 BricsCAD Lite network subscriptions in gray again. The red bar chart, you've guessed it, shows the cost of an AutoCAD LT named user subscription for each of those 20 users period. Now in this example, you're saving nearly £18,000 over the 3 years. Now that's a reduction in cost of ownership of 70%. Again, with perpetual licenses, that percentage figures will continue to increase. Now, in reality, there may be discounts applicable with AutoCAD in both of these illustrations for bulk and over multiple years, but the cost of ownership reduction is still huge. It really is. So to summarize, selecting the right tools for 2D drafting is a fine balance between the capability you need to be productive and efficient and cost. With BricsCAD, you get the balance perfectly right. It provides advanced capability to speed up your DWG-based workflows, more flexible design tools, intelligent AI features to automate time-consuming tasks, and the support for LISP customization. At the same time, it's available at a low price point with flexible license options, allowing the freedom for network licenses, for example. And with its fully compatible DWG approach, familiar user experience, it fits right and really in the heart of your current design workflows. Now, don't take just our word for it. No, here's one of our customers in Mazda in Japan. BricsCAD helps Mazda expand their global vehicle production facilities by enabling a smooth transition from 2D to 3D design workflows. So all those factory robotics, plant and layout, it's all done in BricsCAD. So for me and Kin, it's a goodbye and thank you, but the rest of the team, we're still here to answer all your questions. So please, and we'll share those questions as well.